All right, so today I want to talk about one of the greatest villains in Call of Duty history. When you think the greatest villains, you always kind of think of Vladimir Makarov. Now, he's responsible for some of the most awesome, iconic, whatever you want to call it, moments in the Modern Warfare franchise, especially in the OG Modern Warfare trilogy. However, in the rebooted trilogy, the story feels a bit different. He feels a bit different. According to multiple reports surrounding Modern Warfare 4, Captain Price is expected to kill Makarov by the game's second mission in the new game. Now, this isn't going to be something where we compare scene by scene the rebooted and the OG trilogy Makarov. Now, we're also not going to be necessarily arguing if Makarov should have been written the exact same way as the OG and just copy and pasted to the new one. I don't think that should have happened either. But I do want to take a look at maybe why this version of Makarov didn't reach the same heights as the OG version. Because I honestly don't think that the problem was with Makarov himself. I think it was the story that was built around him. So to understand why the rebooted version of Makarov feels so different, we have to take a very quick look at the original trilogy. From Modern Warfare 2 through Modern Warfare 3, Makarov was the driving force behind every major event. The airport massacre, the war between the United States and Russia, the pursuit of Task Force 141. Every major conflict could be traced back to his decisions. I also think that the rivalry with Captain Price developed more naturally and it felt more personal. So when Infinity Ward decided to bring Modern Warfare back, they had an opportunity to reintroduce these characters, and obviously that means reintroduce a new version of Makarov and kind of start from the very beginning and have him all the way in the shadows and kind of reveal himself as the games went on. Because now you had a brand new timeline, new generation of players, so you had a chance to, build another legend, basically. Modern Warfare 2019 reintroduced Price, Gas, and introduced Laswell, and it established a more darker, grounded, realistic world. Modern Warfare 2 expanded that universe more, and then Modern Warfare 3 would finally introduce Makarov. But Modern Warfare 2 had some breadcrumbs of Makarov's kind of influence throughout the story. Overall, it kind of was supposed to work. I mean, on paper, everything looked like it was good. However, the way they executed it was terrible. But before we go fully into that, let's recap the entire story of Vladimir Makarov. Makarov's early childhood consisted of seeing his father meet with high-ranking officials in Russia, as his father was a politician with a high rank himself. However, when the Soviet Union fell, it destroyed Makarov's family and his way of life. One morning, he woke up and he found his father dead. He had hung himself, as the demise of the Soviet Union was too much to bear. As time went on, Makarov became angry and began to despise his father's apparent weakness, as well as the Soviets for their failures. Makarov wanted to be different, and so he joined the Russian military in 1998, at just 18 years of age. Makarov had a lot of potential during his time in the military, as he had a natural ability for strategic planning. However, he would defect from the Russian military years later, and he would become a part of Barkov's forces and assist in the general's mission to maintain control of Urzikstan. Makarov believed in Barkov's mission and became a big admirer of the general. However, Makarov felt an extreme amount of embarrassment and failure when the ULF took back control of Urzikstan and destroyed Barkov's gas lab in Georgia, which also led to the general's death. Makarov would take this hard and would make it his mission to continue the work that the general intended to do, as well as destroy the ULF and Urzikstan in the process. Makarov went back to Russia and asked for the help of the Kremlin. He wanted permission to take back Urzikstan, as he felt that the ULF made a mockery out of Russia. However, the Kremlin did not agree, nor did he sanction the takeover of Urzikstan in the first place, and so he would strip Makarov of all his previous military honors and his military rank. Angry and embarrassed, Makarov would join the Kane Group, which is a Russian ultranationalist PMC, which is believed to have been formed in 2018. Makarov would plan his first terrorist attack on April 6, 2019, alongside Kani. Makarov would attack the Verdansk Stadium to get the attention of Russia's government. However, the United States would catch wind of this, and General Shepard would send Captain Price of the British Special Air Service and Sergeant McTavish to capture Makarov. Makarov would be captured by Price and Soap. However, Makarov's real target would then be revealed.
Simon Riley, I expected you to stay at the airport and die there.
If you want to live, do not threaten my men, Vladimir.
Are we on first-name basis? Herschel?
So you know names. Anyone could read a bloody dossier. What's the rest of your plan?
This.
What do you mean, this?
Amazing. You're all dumber than you look.
I asked you a question.
And I have a question for you. What time is it?
What the hell do you care what time it is?
Timing is everything, General. I think we'll all remember this moment. Some more fondly than others.
The airport!
He pulled us off target!
As the airport in Verdansk would explode, and having planned for almost any outcome, Makarov already had done his research on Price, Soap, and Ghost, these special air service members tasked with catching him on that day. This would put them on Makarov's hit list, and one thing that can be certain with Vladimir is that he does not forget, nor does he forgive. After being captured, Makarov would be handed over to the Russian government, and the Kremlin would sentence him to life in a maximum security gulag. Makarov was seen as an example to follow for other disillusioned with the Russian government. He could almost been seen as another Barkov, and due to this, he would still plan and execute missions for the Kani group to partake in, and it is believed that he may have bribed a few soldiers inside of the Gulag as he was able to communicate with his closest associates in Ivan Alexeyevich and Andrei Nolin from the confines of the Gulag. In 2022, Makarov orchestrated the intersection and capture of 3 United States missiles that were being transported by the Shadow Company on General Shepard's orders. Makarov would instruct Kani to give these missiles to Hassan Ziani as he planned revenge on the West following the assassination of his general. A year later, in 2023, Makarov led an operation to secure chemical gas, which was located in Almazra, via a burner phone that would be picked up by the Shadow Company. This would lead to Makarov being outed as still leading the Kani group from the confines of the Gulag. The Shadows would eventually secure most of the chemical gas that Makarov was after. However, the ultranationalists had planted Ivan and Andrei within the Shadows, and they would take out members of Graves' Shadow Company and steal the remaining chemical gas. However, Makarov knew that it was time for him to go back out into the world and truly kickstart things. A few months later, in November of 2023, Makarov would be broken out of the Gulag by the Kani group, which was led by his second-in-command, Ivan Alexeyevich.
Это только начало.
All teams, we have him. Moving in 30. Для меня это большая честь, командир Макаров.
6 лет.
22 дня, 4 часа.
Браток. Рад видеть вас обоих. Тебя тоже.
Что вы добились в этой камере?
Это только верхушка айсберга. All stations, this is your commander, Vladimir Makarov. Call sign Tsar 90 actual. I have the com. Move to phase 3. Out. On me.
When they made it back to a secure location, Makarov announced his plans and chose a new second-in-command.
We stand reunited! For your efforts in my absence and our success today, I offer you praise. И наказание. Иван, из-за того, что ты отверг мой план, мы потеряли драгоценное время. А время решает все.
Командир, я принял правильное решение.
Каждый несет ответственности за свои ошибки. Андрей, ты доказал свою преданность. Теперь ты моя правая рука.
Спасибо, командир.
My fellow warriors, I wasn't here, but I was always with you. Since then, our enemies have grown stronger. The ULF has stolen back control of Urzikstan. The time has come for us to show them the meaning of true power. This is a battle of perception. A lie flies while the truth only grows. If you control what people believe, you control the world. This is our weapon. And we will use it as a tool of war to restore glory to Russia. The real Russia!
And this would show how ruthless Makarov truly was. A day after his escape, Makarov would hijack a plane in Russia, and he would plant a bomb vest on a passenger named Samara Jalal, an ex-member of the ULF and a close friend of Farah Karim.
Hello, Samara. You exceeded my expectations today.
What do you think you are?
This is about who you are, Samara.
What is this?
History.
Get this off me, you fucking son of a bitch!
Shh. You will be a hero for what you're doing here, Samara.
No one will believe you. I am not a terrorist.
No. You're a citizen soldier inspired by Farah Karim to fight Russia. You're a freedom fighter.
You're Russian. This plane is full of Russians. How could you kill your own people?
No, I'm not killing them. You are.
Makarov planned to blame the plane hijacking and the death of the Russian people on the ULF in hopes of starting a global conflict between the Russian government and Urzikstan. Makarov would also plan to launch missiles stolen from the ULF, which would be equipped with chemical gas, and he would also look to pin this on Farah and her liberation forces. A few days later, Makarov would capture a member of the Shadow Company and torture him for intel in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Нам надо немедленно проработать информацию, полученную от пленного. Поручите это мне.
Нет, ты мне нужен здесь. Дивиды от Импера. Раз они нашли Милену, они могут найти и нас.
А вы думаете, им что-то еще известно?
Что еще известно, я безвреден.
Если они придут, то мы их встретим.
Я хочу, чтобы все знали, что мы ни перед кем не остановимся. Мужчины они, женщины или дети. Ясно?
Предельно ясно.
Если разведданные от нашего друга Shadow подтвердятся, ты первая.
It is unknown what the Shadow revealed, however, it is believed that he gave up the location of General Herschel Shepard, who Makarov instructed be kidnapped. Makarov would be successful in the capture of the general, who would be transported to an abandoned prison. However, Makarov would be told that Task Force 141 intercepted the Connie group and would take General Shepard back. And he would also be informed that Andrei Nolan was captured by Price in an attack from Task Force 141. Makarov was angry and began to move ahead with his next plan, the bombing of a train system in London that connected to other cities in Europe. Makarov would hire a hacker to upload a virus into the train system that would give him full control of the trains. He would head into the train tunnels with members of the Connie group and would plant a bomb inside of the tunnels. Makarov would be informed that Price and Task Force 141 were on his heels, and they were en route to them. Makarov would order his men to wait for them in an ambush attempt, and when Price and Soap reached the bomb, they began to disarm it, and Makarov pounced at the opportunity, shooting Soap and delivering a message to Captain Price.
Take this to hell with you, Captain. Never bury your enemies alive.
And so now that we know Makarov's story up to Modern Warfare 3, we can continue our breakdown of the character. I think the original trilogy and the rebooted version suffer from a lot of changes and not really having a consistent vision throughout the beginning and through the end. I think the games were developed in a different way, especially for the times. I think the original trilogy had more of a creative direction up until Modern Warfare 3. So the story kind of evolved and it had more of a basis to follow. The rebooted trilogy has had so many changes, so many creative heads coming and going, so many new people, so many hands on it, different studios working on it, then Sledgehammer getting their hands on it, and then Infinity War not wanting them. So it was a lot of development responsibilities that were shifted between so many different hands and studios. I think that was really tough to deal with. You know, Sledgehammer has talented people and Sledgehammer has people that know what they're doing and they know how to make a game, in my opinion. But when you have interference from, you know, Infinity Ward saying, hey, don't do this or don't do that, or you have Activision telling you you're going to do this no matter what, like if you want to do this or not, great, I don't give a fuck, you're gonna do it. So that type of stuff hurts. And so you had Modern Warfare 3 come out and you had Modern Warfare 3 introduce Makarov and you had this whole thing built around Makarov, but it wasn't the studio that created Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2. It was Sledgehammer Games. So that was a big issue. That was something that honestly from the very get-go it was going to not work because the creative version wasn't there from the very beginning. So I think that's one of the reasons that I think this Makarov reboot felt so different. And I think that's why Infinity Ward, now that they got control back for Modern Warfare 4, said, you know what, fuck you and fuck Makarov, we're gonna kill him now. And maybe they didn't like Makarov. So I think that's honestly a really big reason as to why this Makarov didn't work. I think something else that we can look at and a big criticism for this Makarov is the death of Soap. I think that obviously in the original trilogy, the death of Soap was something that is a defining moment for the series and establishes Makarov as, you know, a very evil son of a bitch. But in this rebooted version, everything that led up to it just was bad. In the original trilogy, players spent years alongside Soap and Price and working together, thinking that they were going to take out Makarov. But when Soap gets taken out by Makarov, it hits you tremendously. It hits you like a train. It's something very unexpected, and you know, you wanted to get Makarov. So it really, again, became more personal. But the rebooted version just rushes through everything, right? And it tries to say, oh, yeah, this is going to have the same effect. But of course it's not, because we only met Soap in the last game. And it felt so weird to have that dynamic between Price and Soap. I mean, Soap felt like he was more friendly or more of a brother to Ghost. And Gas felt like he was more close with Price. So I think if you would have flipped it and you would have had Makarov kill Gas in front of Price, that would have been a lot more powerful and emotional, more gripping. And it could have, you know, had this anger that Price felt feel more justified. And it doesn't feel that justified with Soap. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons too that this Makarov could feel like a failure, because although the writers and the people put Soap in that position to die, Makarov is the one who executes it, and that's the person we think of. So we're like, okay, Makarov sucks. This Makarov just sucks. He's not doing the right thing. He feels weird. He keeps failing, and then he just killed the wrong person. So, I mean, I think it falls a lot on that too. Now, one of the things that I always see regarding Vladimir Makarov in this rebooted trilogy is that the actor is terrible, or the actor has a baby face, or he doesn't look like a villain. But honestly, I've never had an issue with the actor. I thought the actor had a menacing look. I thought the actor had a modern feel to him where he could deliver something really good. And I think if you put him up against, you know, Price or any of the other actors, he could deliver a very powerful performance. I mean, his voice is very calm and his delivery is a little bit more, you know, slower and controlled. And he just has this feel to him. Like, he brings his own movements and stuff to the character. So I think that there were flashes of him being a very legendary Makarov, him being something very menacing and strong, but it was that he didn't have enough opportunities to fully realize the character. And I always mentioned that I felt we needed more time with Makarov. We needed to see him a little bit more in MW3, and we needed to see him winning more. And the problem is that we saw him fail and fail and fail every single time. I think the only time that we saw him win was during the airport, where he sacrifices, you know, all of those people, and that one was brutal. But I think that we never really saw him win much after that. I mean, he killed Soap, but all of that felt rushed. It was very difficult to take this Makarov serious. I think it was very difficult for people to accept him because he was just a failure. All in all, he was a failure, and that's not really on the actor's shoulders. That's on the writers. That's on the people creating these stories. If they would have written a more cohesive story, if they would have written him better, I think the actor would have been able to deliver something a lot more powerful, because you have Barry Sloane, who's a fantastic Captain Price. I think he's the best Captain Price ever. If you write him really shit, he's gonna just be really shit. There's still gonna be echoes of the Captain Price that we know and love, but he's gonna feel very different if you write him bad. But if you write him really good, then Barry Sloane is gonna shine. Same way with, you know, the actor for Vladimir Makarov. I think it's not his fault at all. Julian Kostov, I think he could have delivered us something very, very interesting, and it wasn't on his shoulders, and they failed him. And I really do believe that from the bottom of my heart. All of that basically leads us to Modern Warfare 4. What happens if these rumors are true? And I don't even want to say they're rumors. I want to say that they're confirmed, because apparently sources at the event for Modern Warfare 4 literally came out with a statement saying that Makarov dies by the mission number 2, and they want to get that information out because they don't want people to assume that this is another game of Makarov. This is going to, you know, concentrate on a new enemy, on a new threat with the Korean Peninsula at full war. So I want to say that they are accurate, right? And so Captain Price kills Vladimir Makarov in the second mission. And with this happening, that means that the rebooted version of Makarov, basically is a failure completely. Like he's done, right? And I remember before we got this announcement, I spent a lot of time, I spent over the last 3 years really talking a lot about Makarov and Modern Warfare 4 and how Makarov could make a return in MW4 and really truly be a threat. I thought that you could have Infinity Ward come back, take control of the series, and have Makarov written in a way where he could be a really savage villain and cause a lot of death and cause a lot of pain, basically redeem himself. But he's not even going to get that chance, right? He's going to disappear completely before he even gets a chance to evolve into something more. So I think that one of Call of Duty's greatest ever villains is never going to reach his full potential here in this rebooted version. The story never gave him enough time to grow. Modern Warfare 4 said, you know what, the hell with him, we're just going to kill him. And I think that sucks because there was a story there to tell. This character should have been explored more. This character and this actor should have been given the reins to fully become and embody, this terrorist, this crazy villain, and to give us something iconic, and we're not gonna get. So I wanted to talk about that here today with you guys, and I wanted to get your opinions and see what you guys think about Makarov. I know a lot of you guys really don't like him, and maybe some of you are very happy that he's gone, but I think looking back, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't feel that this rebooted Makarov failed because of the casting or necessarily even a weak performance. I just think it was that the writers and the studios and all the changes really affected him, and you couldn't get past that. I mean, how can you be something good when the people behind you, the people that you're supposed to trust with the writing and everything, can't even agree on what they're supposed to do, right? So that's the fundamental flaw of Modern Warfare and really Makarov in this rebooted trilogy.